Kia ora, g'day, welcome back once again, here with another reaction to Mr. Christian Craighead on the Sean Ryan Show. So let's jump back in.
So that's roughly a 5% success rate.
I believe so. That's what it should be.
How many people came out with you?
Well, we had a quite a big course, so it must have been easy. So it's like, I think 18.
18 came out?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's funny, yeah. It brings back memories when I've heard and spoken with people that have had low numbers come out of their selection courses. And then when my one in NZ, there was 12 of us that finished. Yeah, you get all the comments, oh, your fellas one must have been an easy selection. But it's hard case, all the banter that happens. Some of the older operators and stuff that were in there, or mine was the last of the hard selections, etc. So it's always the case, and it's pretty cool. In Australia, pretty sure 27 of us finished selection out of, I think all up, if you include those that come through the barrier testing, man, there might have been close to 300 total. But then you have on the day, or like day one of selection starting properly, geez, I don't know, there might have been in the 40s or 50s, thereabouts. I can't remember the exact number, but we had a high number of us complete. And then of that 27, pretty sure it was 27, that number stuck in my head for some reason. And they took 19 of us, because I remember there's a big group of us. Then there were two chunks of us, like we got our names and stuff, or names of people got read out. They went to one area, we stayed in another area. Then that group were gone, they got spoken to, and they had passed selection, but they weren't selected for the cycle. And then, then I never saw them again. So anyway, back to this.
At what point do you figure out if you're going SAS or SBS?
Beforehand.
So you know what you're trying out for beforehand.
Yeah.
They don't
put you into a box and say you actually did better in the SBS, and that's you put in for service in the SS. That may have changed now. I'm not sure. I'm out of the loop somewhat. But,
so what happens if they have a class where everybody wants to go SAS?
That's it.
And nobody wants to go SBS.
There's been courses where just one person has passed.
No
or
shit.
Two people, I think it was one. So it's like, yeah.
Interesting. Well, how do they fill billets?
That could be a potential problem. I'm out of the loop now. So the big problem is we have a lot of people. I think people are leaving now because of the war on terror is finished. So there tends to be people leaving, and sometimes the more people are leaving than coming in. It's really interesting just to see. We're going to go off on a tangent here, so get ready. But it's really interesting to me to watch special operations, the tip of the spear globally, just diminish and vanish into, I feel like it's going to vanish into nothing. You know, the Canadian guys, have you ever worked with them? The CANSOF, I've got some friends.
Tier 1 guys. I mean, recruitment numbers way down, completely demoralized the unit. I interviewed this guy, Dallas Alexander.
I know Dallas. He's a friend of mine.
No kidding. Yeah. You guys know each other?
Yeah.
Well, damn, I wanted to connect you, but so much for that.
Yeah, we met recently at the we supporting Frontline Healing Foundation, and he was playing his stuff. And that's the first time we met.
Oh, cool.
And, but we talked to each other before, and so it was like, but he's a real great guy.
I love that guy. He's salt of the earth. That's
what I keep saying to him now. Goes, remember me when you're super famous. Remember me when you're, because he is good. And this is not a shameless, what do you call, like a plug for him. He is. I said, you're waiting to. Yeah. His some of his tracks are like good,
but their numbers are down. British Special Forces numbers are down. American Special Forces numbers are down. Nobody's signing up for this. I feel like the special operator is becoming obsolete. Do you feel like that? I feel like warfare is evolving, and the special operator is being phased out.
It's interesting that sorry to cut off Christian. It's interesting that he asked that question. I mean, as for the longest time that I can remember, there's always been issues in the Special Forces area, at least NZ, Australia, and then the whispers that I'd heard from 2-2 in terms of low numbers of applicants and low numbers of people successfully passing and getting through to the next stage of cycle or getting into the unit. So I don't know that that's ever going to change, but it's quite interesting hearing Sean's perspective. I mean, he's plugged in, tapped in, spoken to and interviewed a whole bunch of people within that space in America and around the world. And yeah, that seems to be, I've even seen some of the comments in some of my videos about the comments. So I think there'll be less and less need for an SF operator. It's more technology and drones and this, that, and the other, and AI coming into play, etc. Yeah, I don't know. My take, and we'll hear Christian's soon, so I don't know what Christian's take is going to be. I personally think there's always a need for an SF operator, whether it be domestic or whether it be international. And things that are happening around the world, i.e. Israel and Iran, you still need to deploy people. You still need people, and I think just me personally, maybe I'm just biased or blinded, I think there's always a need for SF operators to go into theatre and to do things that other people just can't do or are unwilling to do. So anyway, let's see what Christian has to say and carry on from there.
I would say I think it's more of the ebb and flow of society and the military. You know, and some things are popular, some things aren't popular, and it's just this. I can't really speak on behalf of UK Special Forces because, like I say, I'm out the loop, so I don't know how their recruiting is and how their retention is. But I've heard it's not good, but that might be wrong. But it's this ebb and flow of, like, right now, they're not like 10 years ago that they were the pick of the litter. Now maybe like things are focusing elsewhere, or who knows. And like I say, it's just an ebb and flow, and it's usually if something happens to then, we need to make this a priority again.
Yeah.
So I think
it's a real shame to just watch all the experience disappear. You know, because when the next one, when the next war comes up, that experience, all of that experience will be gone. Because they've demoralized the units, plural.
I think part of the problem with this, this is not focused to special forces, is when you have leadership who look to the political side of things and try and please their political masters, and like instead of like the focus of supporting the army, they're just looking for the next gig probably, and to be popular with their political masters, and so that's why all this corporate knowledge is just lost.
Yeah,
all these skill sets, they don't care because it's like a black mark. I was served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and people might say, we don't talk about that. We don't want to know what you did.
Yeah,
we don't want to know that. And rather than saying, right, what did you actually learn? What was some of the points? So now we've got a whole generation potentially of instructors who haven't done like FOB life. Like this is speaking from a Green Army point of view. All these guys who served in FOBs and leaders and things, and now they've gone, and now there might be another generation who they didn't pass that on to because
they need that information.
No one decided to capture it.
It's not only do they not decide to capture it, they have ostracized the experience from some of the units. Dallas is a perfect example. I mean, the man was on a 4-man sniper team that has the longest sniper kill in the history of the world, and they ostracized him from the unit. They flushed that experience down the fucking toilet.
There is an element, isn't there? We've covered this, and it's not
you too.
The first time I've seen it is the veterans It didn't matter what stage. Don't like success. They don't like good things.
Yeah.
Someone takes the longest sniper shot.
I mean, with
That's not good.
with what you were involved in Nairobi and all the experience that we don't even know about. I mean, look at the experience you have to pass on to the future generations of SAS, and they fucking flush that down the toilet.
Man, sad, eh? Some passion in there. You can hear it. You can see. Well, I can hear it, see it, and feel it coming through the screen. And even though this is old, there, he's speaking some truth and stuff there. I do know operators from the Australian SAS and NZ that have given a lot of time that are quite not very happy about their situation and or situations and things that they witnessed or saw, which sort of was part of the catalyst and added to them then eventually leaving. Some of them are not advocates in terms of recommending people join those units, and that's cool. Like, each to their own, eh? Like, I still respect those men and have a lot of admiration, respect for them, and appreciation for what they've done, the way that they've served. But man, it's tough. I like what Christian spoke about, the ebbs and flows. Yep, that's a valid point. And probably when something else happens, unfortunately, then that's when there may be more of an interest in people wanting to join the SF units or just the military in general. But that's sad to hear when people are ostracized. I don't know if targeted is the word, but maybe not supported, not looked after, just not looked after. And the opportunity to grab that information, transfer that knowledge on, and pass it on to the next generations or those that are there, so that it's captured, and it can be utilized. That's sad that hasn't happened. And I don't know the details with regards to Christian, but it seems like there's a bit of a mission at the moment for him and he's fighting his battle with regards to what he wants and needs to do and or put out. So hopefully that gets sorted out, or hopefully it's been sorted out anyway. Yeah.
It's disgusting. You could have imparted a lot more wisdom than you have on that unit, and I'm sure you would have been.
So after, I am on good terms with 22 SAS.
You are
at this moment in time. I'm on good terms. There's a whole load of reasons why I retired. I didn't retire bitter. I did have some grievances with some leadership members. And I felt that either they were jealous of what I did, or they were getting pressure from outside of the regiment. But it was more of a timing thing. I did 28 years and things like that. So I left the SAS extremely proud that I'd served in that unit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on camp just about 3 weeks ago, talking with the command sergeant major. And so like I said, hey, I'm friendly forces, and like I said to him, I'm not bitter towards the regiment. I'm bitter towards the British government. I'm British towards the Ministry of Defence, and I'm British towards some personalities of leadership who were in command in 2019, 2020. That's my issue, and it's all personal stuff. It's not, but as a I'm super proud of the SS, and I would always support them if I could.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool that he's clarified that, eh? That makes it good for Sean to know, as well as anybody else listening to Christian's interview. I would have been surprised if he was bitter towards the unit. But yeah, that's awesome to hear that he's not. He's on good terms. That all makes sense, eh? Like members of, or politicians, Minister of Defence, and some leadership that were in there at the time. So I think those things are pretty normal.
But there, to your point, it's not just me. There's lots of men with lots of experience, and once you're out, they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They're not calling people back or saying, "What do you think about this?" Or not saying, I mean, I get messages from operators saying, "Hey, I'm looking at this weapon scope. What do you think on it? We're looking about doing this sort of drill for hostage rescue. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well,
look at that, eh? Like, there's opportunities there aplenty, eh, for Defence Force, maybe even for the, well, not maybe, probably even for the police, firefighters, paramedics, like all the first responders stuff. Navy, Air Force, like imagine if you somehow continued a relationship, a positive relationship, maintain the links, look after the individual to a degree. Like if a person's chosen to leave, then, they're out to look after themselves, which is cool, and or their family. But providing an opportunity to still grab that information, utilize it as and when you might need to. Oh man, we talk about continuous improvement and all these things that we want to do, and there's opportunities just smacking us right in the face. And what Christians just highlighted and spoke about, and even Sean just highlights that those things are there, and they are no doubt in and around any organisation, particularly one in that sort of high functioning, whether it be military defence force in general or that first responder space. I reckon there's definitely scope to try to retain some of that knowledge and information somehow to pass it on.
They did, and that's what comes back to you on the of support. Maybe we'll touch on it later, but that's one thing I'm extremely grateful for, is that I've had nothing but support from members and peers of the SAS, not just the guys I served with, but the older generation have all supported me. And now the future generation, they're coming up to me when they see me in Hereford and say, "You don't know who I am, but I'm in whatever squadron. You inspired me to join the SAS. Thanks." And the guys all send their regards and stuff. And it's not just about what I did that day. They're actually talking about social media, the potential book, which probably isn't going to come out, but the book that's been written. They say this is a story that needs to be told. And we'll touch on that in a bit anyway, but it's good to get support from your peers.
Yeah.
And
let's talk about the culture within that unit. Let's talk about the culture, what daily life is like as an SAS operator. So what do I mean by the culture? I mean, how are you received when you make it through selection and you get to your unit?
I think, again, I kind of don't want to really talk much about this. Everyone's just driven, and they're working towards whatever the mission at hand is. That's it. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I suppose, man, there's quite a few. Like, I've got a list of reaction requests, and some that I've just seen that have popped up on my feed. I've gone, oh, that's quite interesting. And there doesn't appear to be any shortage of, probably more current times these days. Doesn't appear to be any shortage of information or content out there around 22 SAS, around parts of the selection process. Same with, likewise for New Zealand, likewise for Australia, Navy SEALs stuff. There doesn't seem to be, from what I gather, not that I've done a real massive deep dive, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of information around Delta and their selection process. Doesn't seem to be a lot of information out around SEAL Team 6 and DevGru. I think there's bits and pieces that have been spoken about in terms of, I think it was Green Team at the time. But now I think it's S&T. Somebody put on one of the comments, selection and training for DevGru, which to me makes a bit more sense, easier for my little brain to process. But yeah, it's interesting. Christian has been like this, to his credit, from the start of the interview, or from parts whenever 2-2 selection, blah, 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 whatever's been spoken about. He's made it pretty clear that I think he used the term, he's on the borders of what he can and can't, or what he's happy and not happy to speak about. So it looks like this part of 22 SAS, from Christian Craighead's perspective, that's as far as he wants to go, and looks like that's probably shut down. So maybe they'll move into another topic.
That's what I'm going to say. Every squadron is different. Every team's different. The best way to round it all off is everyone in that, right? Nearly everyone, are driven professionals working towards whatever mission is their focus. That's what it is across the board.
Okay. Well, we will scoot past SAS into 15 January 2019 from Nairobi, Kenya. 5 terrorists from Al-Shabaab, Somalia. It was a 19-hour gunfight standoff, evacuated approximately 700 civilians. There were 21 casualties, 28 wounded, 19 Kenyans, 1 American, 1 British. It was at the Dusit D2 Luxury Hotel in 14 Riverside Plaza in Nairobi's affluent Westgate neighborhood.
19 hours, holy heck. And then you heard the numbers, 700 odd hostages, 21 casualties. When they say I'm assuming they mean KIA. There was the number 28 thrown around. I'm not sure what that was. I won't worry about going back over it. You can hear it for yourself, but far out. 19 hours. From what I understand, he's on his own. There's like an outer cordon providing security, but he's on his own, getting after it, going in and out of that place. So anyway, we're about to lean into it in here.
Let's talk about that day.
So,
how did that day start?
So that day, just before we go into it, and people set up, the incident itself, people know about it. Am I going to talk about that incident? Not really. I'm going to talk around it, and I'm going to mention it, but I'm not going to talk about what I did and what happened that day, just so we're clear. Just so people are aware of this.
I'm actually not sure if I did what I did on Kyle Morgan's one and skipped forward to the Radisson Blue and then went back. So anyway, I'm going to play this now because this doesn't sound familiar. It may just be my short-term memory loss.
It's a remarkable day and a remarkable story. And the day started in an unusual way. So I did my own little bit of training that morning, just by myself. I was training out in a rural area, and did finish my day's training, or my morning's training. It was an early start, and I'm driving back to the city. I'm driving down the road, and as I pull onto what I would call the main, but it's just a dirt track leading into the city.
No, I think I have. This sounds familiar now. We sees a guy does something that he wouldn't normally do and picks up the person, takes him for a ride, and he has a Christ knife or something like that, pulls it out. He has a conversation. This rings bells now, and then I think it leads into he was wherever he got back to, and then he got a phone call from somebody that he knew that was at the hotel, and he picked up and moved. So I think I did do that. So what I'll do is I'll wrap this one up here, go back and double check the other videos because I think that is what I did, and then we'll come back and then I'll look to finish this or do another reaction. Hopefully it finishes this interview off. But yeah, that's starting to jog my memory now, what he's just describing there. So anyway, appreciate you, if you made it this far. Appreciate your time, your support. Thank you very much for everything. As always, anybody going through any hard times, any difficulties, any challenges, know that they are temporary. Know that better days are ahead. Know that these bad times will not last forever. So keep staying in the fight. Keep turning up. I promise you, they will get better. As always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there's a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all.